Well, hello there. It's Deej here on my journey to catch 'em all. And today I'm going to tell you guys a little story. Okay? So, right here in front of me, I have a ton of Japanese stuff. Some of it I bought through collections. I just recently alphabetized it, so, I got A, Arcanine, Blastoise, Charizard, lots of good stuff. Um, First of all, I gotta tell you, alphabetizing Japanese cards really questions your knowledge of the hobby. These are the only ones that I didn't know. Some trainers, some energies. I got through all the Pokemon perfectly, but yeah, that's a whole task. Anyways, so the other place where I got a bunch of these cards is back in the hype of Sword and Shield. And when English was very hyped, everybody was panicking about Evolving Skies, and Vivid Voltage was super expensive, and Battle Styles was expensive. There was so much hype in English. And I'm telling you that I got all these cards during that time, and they're Japanese. Okay, so let me tell you why that happened. So when you're collecting, and you're a binder collector like me, okay, there's a lot of holes in binders. Gets expensive super fast, right? Do you notice anything about this page? Give you one more second. Well, I'll tell you. So I pulled a lot of these cards, but that guy is pretty expensive in English, right? Well, at the time in Japanese, it was only $20. I think in English at the time it was like 130, 150. You probably hear me say at the time about 50 times, but just gonna have to deal. So anyways, so this is what goes through. This is what happens. It's like people talk about it all the time. There's a cycle in Pokemon. It's natural. When prices get high in English, products get scarce, singles go up, and people can't complete binders without spending an arm and a leg. So they think, oh man, Japanese is so cheap, I can buy a booster box of shiny treasures for 30 bucks. And even Paldean Fates, the booster bundles are going for $35. So I can buy a booster bundle with 6 packs, no guaranteed nothing in that. Or I can get an entire booster box of shiny treasures, and it's cheaper, or the same price. To me, you're looking for value when you're an investor. So if you're an investor, it makes sense in the fact that you're buying where nobody's paying attention, where it's cheap. You know that hype's going to go back to Japanese at some point. And at that time, Pokemon, they're saying, oh, people aren't buying Japanese as much, we better slow the printers down. Meanwhile, on the English side, there's not enough product for anything, so they're trying to speed the printers up. And it's just a cycle. Eventually, they're going to have too much product for English. It's going to take some time, but it'll happen. And in Japanese, the hype will die down, so they'll stop printing as much. And then eventually, like I said, people like me are going to start, and investors are going to start going to Japanese, and then those prices will start to rise, but there won't be enough product. So, back to this. I have so many hits from back then, from me opening boxes myself. Back then, I would sell some packs out of the boxes. It was extremely slow. Selling 3 packs for $3 a piece, and nobody trusted me because you don't buy Japanese packs unweighed. I mean, at the time, people still bought from me, and they were pulling hits and stuff, and I always asked them to put, if they got hits, into my reviews, but it was very slow. So I opened a lot of packs, graded the hits, made so much money because when I graded them, it was about the time when all the Japanese full arts trainers went nuts. So I'd buy boxes. I'm going to go over in a second some of the prices I was paying back then for these Japanese boxes. So when Sword and Shield was hyped, for instance, I was buying Dream League boxes, which is Cosmic Eclipse, for 40 or 50 bucks, like literally almost minimum price. And then eventually the hits got crazy expensive. Like I sold a PSA 10 Rosa for $300-400, which then pays for 10 boxes or 8 boxes of Dream League. So I have all this free product, and I still have a ton of free boxes. These are all completely just profit boxes that I kept as sealed. So this is my profit from that time period, along with just all this bulk that I kept. And now that TCG Player has added the easy way to sell bulk, all this Sun and Moon bulk that I have is worth gold. I listed like a test round, I listed about 500 cards of bulk, and there were so many cards that had no listing. So me being the only one with near mint, I was just putting $1, you know, I'm not gonna put a number out there that nobody's gonna buy. But if I have 5 cards that somebody wants, and I'm the only person that has them, and they want to get that free shipping, they're gonna get to $5. So they'll pick a couple dollar cards, but really, like literally, oh, there's my stack. Literally, cards like this, 10 cents, 75 cents, 50 cents, I don't really care. Like, it's all, I don't need these cards because I already have a lot of the holes filled in my binder. In general, I do try and keep mostly English, but I do have some Japanese cards filled. I'm not the person that's like mastering every set perfectly in English. I just want one of every art for every English slot. So if it's an only Japanese card, I'm not going to care about it. So a lot of this is just worthless to me. I mean, I think it's all very cool. I just love going through it and sorting it. That's why my store is Catch 'em All cards. I literally am trying to catch them all. I care about all the different aspects of this hobby. So another thing that I did while going through this is I picked a bunch of gradable cards, and none of these are the big hits. Like I said, I graded a bunch of the big hits already. Like, for instance, one of the big hits I got was a Mewtwo from Miracle Twins, the Mewtwo and Mew. That was a tag team full art in one of the tins. Sold it for $2,000 during the hype. And then I had the Tyranitar Sableye, but the alt art version sell for like $1,500. And I bought these boxes for literally nothing. Man, this is hard to do one-handed. But a lot of these are just bulk cards, but they're not bulk. Like, see, I'm only pick cool Pokemon or ones with cool arts. This one's got Misty on it. Like, that's underrated. Like, people probably don't even notice that, but when I list it, I'll say like Misty's Lucky Lapras or something, you know, at the end of the rainbow. I'll put something cool on it to show people like it's not just some basic Lapras card. And when you show that appreciation, that people will see it. There really is riches in the niches. And none of you big guys, don't do this. Don't ruin this for people like me, these little guys filling these collectors' holes in their binder. So Sao Sao's a good one. I love the knitted hacky sack ones by Asako Ida. And I'm not going to grade all these right away, but once a card's not a 10, it's not a 10 forever. So I'm always cautious of that, especially with this kind of bulk stuff. People probably think it's worth this, but I'll sell these cards for 30, 40. If it's a pop one, 50, 60. I'm telling you, people want specific Pokemon, and people don't grade this stuff. So I've had people thank me so many times, like, thank you for grading this stuff. I got one person who has specifically instructed me to grade every Dragapult Dreepy line that I find. I got a couple in here for him that I'm gonna grade. The point is, everybody right now is focused on English. I am still profiting from the last cycle of people going crazy about English, from me not focusing on that, waiting for Japanese to boom, and I'm still raking it in. And now that this stuff is one cycle past, a lot of this Sun and Moon stuff, it's going to be so valuable for me to sell right now. And I'm going to have all this stock listed by the time Japanese starts to pick up again, because English is getting too crazy. Fill the gaps. Where there's demand, you obviously want to sell your stuff, but you need to get it before that. Buy English before. When Japanese was going crazy with 151, what was cheap? That's when there was so much Chilling Reign, so much Fusion Strike. Everything crashed. Everything crashed. Silver Tempest and Lost Origin, all that stuff was going for $100 a booster box. Evolving Skies was a little bit weird, but when all that was going on, Japanese was nuts. And that's when I was selling all my stuff, you know, my Mewtwo Mew, my Tyranitar Sableye, making bank on that. And at the time, I was just buying tons of Sword and Shield sealed stuff. And now that Japanese is down again, all the Sword and Shield stuff is booming. It's really not as complicated as a lot of people make it out to be. If you've made it this far in the video, you must like my content a little bit. Please subscribe, please like. If you have anything to say, comment. It's all very much appreciated. And let's get on with some of these amazing deals that I bought. You won't believe this, trust me. So as I promised, now we're gonna go through some of my purchases from back in 2020, 2021, back during the last English hype. So we're gonna start with an astonishing Volt Tackle booster box. I was buying all of my Japanese boxes from Nin Nin Game. They're a reputable distributor in Japan, and they ship to the US in bulk, and their pricing is actually extremely reasonable, even compared to what you find on eBay. Like often their prices were better than I found on eBay, so that's where I was buying from in bulk, and I tried to make large orders, but this is how it started. So originally, this all started during Vivid Voltage, crazy hype in English. You know, that booster box was going for $280, like right after release, and I wanted to collect it, so I started buying the Japanese boxes in order to sell it and collect the cards for free. The correlation isn't lost on me that this was the Vivid Voltage, the Pikachu set, and right now Surging Sparks is going on. It's the Pikachu set, it's all crazy. But I really think it's like very small brain of you, or not you, but of the people out there saying that Vivid Voltage is the same as Surging Sparks, because it is so extremely different. There was the Rainbow Pikachu, which is like cool, it's rainbow, it's rare, but it's not like cool or unique at all. And the coolest cards besides that were the Amazing Rares, and they were extremely common. Those PSA 10s were literally down to like 15, 20 bucks for a long time. They just started to creep back up. I set a couple of them away because I had graded a few, and I wasn't willing to sell them for literally nothing, so I was like, I'll just hold on to them. I think they're actually back up to like 30 bucks. But point is, Surging Sparks has way more value in it, so that part of the correlation is not true. And from the cards that we've seen in Prismatic Evolution, it's so much better than Shining Fates, it's not even funny. So I don't think that we can use the strength of Vivid Voltage and Shining Fates to preclude what's going to happen next, but the hype is similar. So that is what I'm looking at here, and that's what brought me to Japanese in the first place. So I'm having those same signals in my brain saying, hey, you might want to look at Japanese again. This worked out well for you last time. So again, I went and bought the Japanese Astonishing Volt Tackle. Some people call it Amazing Volt Tackle. I've seen it all different ways in all different places. For $45, got a couple of them shipped here. And again, what I was doing at the time is I was selling individual packs or opening and grading myself in order to make packs free for me, essentially, or boxes free, sealed product, to create profit that way. And as you can see right now, this one actually didn't perform that well, kind of like Vivid Voltage, where it just didn't really see the gains. And I think it's kind of the same reasons I just talked about. Like, it's just not really that great of a set. But you'll see in a minute that a lot of the other sets I was buying saw way more gains. I also think it's really interesting to look at this price chart, and I haven't been able to find a charting mechanism that goes all the way back to 2020. So if you find that, let me know. You can see the date that I bought this was in November, ironically, of 2020. Wow, that is very ironic. So exactly 4 years later. So I don't have the exact price charting data from back then, but I do have this, and you can see that it was kind of on its way down from the peak. So around 170 here in July of 2021. So when I was buying this, you know that Vivid Voltage was way up here. It's coming down. All in all, I made about 15 or 20 orders over the course of a couple years, but I'm just going to go over a couple of them with you. I'm not going to go over all of them, but just some of the ones that I look back on now and be like, man, I really made the right play. I should have went in harder, and I want to learn from this and do better now. So for this order, one of the ones I got was Tag Bolt, which is basically unbroken bonds. There's a couple actually unique cards in there in Japanese that aren't in English. It's an extremely popular set. There's hits in every pack. It's a high-class set. It's got so many things going for it. This was my first introduction to a high-class set, and I was just mind-blown pulling hits out of every single pack, like cool reverses, secret rare energies. Like, it was just so fun to open. And at the time, when I joined, I had missed the Unbroken Bonds cycle when that was modern, so all that stuff had already gotten kind of expensive. You can see on this price charting chart that even back in 2021, the Unbroken Bonds booster box was $330, and I was buying these Tag Team GX booster boxes for $48, $50 when the English side was going for $300. But that was a huge win. In that same order, I got Dream League, which is Cosmic Eclipse, which we all know is crazy expensive in English. I got that for $44. It's now over $500 in English. I got Double Blaze, which is just more the other side of Unbroken Bonds. Got that for $41 in Japanese. We already know what that costs in English booster box, but that Japanese booster box is now up to $225. So again, I kind of cycled through the sets because I was going through a lot of the sets that I missed, and so many of these were Sun and Moon while Sword and Shield was going on, and they were still dirt cheap. And if these prices kind of look familiar, it's about the pricing of the current Japanese sets, if not even a little cheaper now. So just something to note. So one of the last orders I did was this one, where I got some Dark Order packs for $42. You can see the gain as I go through these. Got Remix Bout, 2 boxes, and I got so many of those boxes over time. Remix Bout is kind of Cosmic Eclipse. Miracle Twins got for $59. That's Unified Minds. That's stupid expensive in English. Sky Legend, that's kind of Hidden Fates cards. So for $46, more Double Blaze. Alter Genesis for $61. That's like Cosmic Eclipse. This is like Battle Style Some Chilling Rain for $75. That's not too much more nowadays, but it is more, and it did go up. And then I got Tag Bolt, which is Team Up in English, and that went crazy up. I still got a couple boxes of that, but that's going for over $700 in English right now, and I got it for $84. It's just insane. And I hope you guys are kind of seeing a pattern here. So while you can see I did pick a swath of sets, that was more just for preference and not necessarily for trying to get the maximum gains. And I will never promise you to get the maximum gains. But in my next video, I'm going to share how I think that good sets can be picked, and I'm going to do it in a way that I think a lot of you Pokemon lovers will be able to relate to. It's going to be interesting. If you've made it this far, please subscribe, like. I appreciate you. Thanks for joining me on my journey to catch 'em all.